The Broken Toy. A cold, dead spaceship floated silently near Saturn. Its metal body was cracked and burned. The engines were cold. No lights, no movement. Just silence. But deep inside, something blinked. A weak signal. It was small and broken, but it called out into space like a whisper. Help. Unit failing. Broken. Help. No one heard it. No one answered. Until one man saw it. Eli Turner, a retired space engineer, lived alone on an old space station. He had once built machines for Earth's defense fleet. Now he just fixed small robots and talked to plants. He liked silence. He liked being away from war. But that day, his computer beeped. A signal. Faint, very old tech. Not human. He looked closer. That's alien, he whispered. Most people would ignore it. Dangerous. Unknown. Maybe a trap. But Eli wasn't most people. He powered up his small ship, the Firefly. It hadn't flown in years. As the engines warmed, he packed a few tools, food, and something special. A soft teddy bear, worn and patched. Let's see who's calling, he said, and launched into space. The alien ship was a wreck. Pieces floated nearby like broken glass. Eli docked carefully. The airlock creaked as he stepped in. The halls were dark. The walls had strange writing. Not human letters. Everything was damaged. Burn marks. Wires torn out. Silence. Then he heard a sound. A soft hum, like a child's voice. He followed it. In a small room, under a fallen beam, he saw her. A little girl. Not human. Her skin was pale blue. Her eyes were closed. Her body was thin, almost too light to be real. One arm was made of metal. The other was full of tubes. Her back had scars. She looked like a doll, a broken toy. But her chest moved. She was breathing. Eli slowly moved closer. Her eyes opened. They glowed faintly. She tried to speak, but only one word came out. Toy. Then she passed out. Eli brought her to his ship. She was burning with fever. He worked for hours to clean her wounds, fix her implants, and give her medicine. He didn't know alien biology, but he had old knowledge and heart. When she finally woke up, she stared at the teddy bear beside her. She touched it with her metal fingers. "What is this?" she asked, voice weak. "A friend," Eli said gently. "For you." She looked confused. "I don't get friends. I am defective. I am a weapon, a tool, broken." Eli frowned. "Who told you that?" She pointed at the scars on her body. "Makers. They make us, train us. If we fail, they throw us away." Eli's heart sank. "What's your name?" She shook her head. "No name. Just Unit 9A. "That's not a name," Eli said. "That's a number. You're more than that." She looked away. "Not more. Just toy." Eli sat beside her. "My name is Eli. I used to build machines too. But machines can't smile. You did." She blinked. "I smiled." He nodded. "When you touched the bear." She stared at it again. Slowly, her small lips curved. Just a little. Then suddenly, red lights flashed in Eli's ship. Warning. Unauthorized life form detected. Military alert sent. Eli jumped up. Damn it. The system scanned her DNA. Now Earth knows. Lyra, as he decided to call her, sat up. "They will come for me. Not if I keep you safe." "No one keeps broken things," she said softly. Eli looked at her, firm and calm. "Then maybe it's time someone did." Outside, far in the stars, Earth's fleet picked up the signal. A top-level alert was issued. Unknown alien found. Potential threat. Immediate recovery required. They did not ask, "Is she scared? Is she alone?" They only asked, "Is she dangerous?" Back inside the ship, Lyra looked out the window. "Is this Earth?" she asked. "Not yet," Eli said, "but we're going home." She held the teddy bear tightly. Her eyes closed again, not from fear this time, but from safety. For the first time in her life, the broken toy began to hope. A human touch. The stars outside the ship slowly passed by. Inside the Firefly, it was quiet, except for the soft humming of old machines and the sound of breathing. Eli sat near the control panel, tired but alert. He glanced back at the small bed where the alien girl, Lyra, was sleeping. She looked peaceful now, but he knew the peace wouldn't last long. Earth had detected her. That meant danger. Hours earlier, when Lyra woke up, she didn't move at first. She stared at the ceiling, blinking slowly. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. Then her hand reached out, not for a weapon, not to fight. She touched the teddy bear again. "You're still here," she whispered. Eli heard her and walked over. "So are you," he said with a small smile. Lyra looked at him, confused. "Why didn't you leave me?" Eli sat on a crate nearby. "Why would I? I'm broken. A machine. The failed weapon. My creators would have erased me." Eli sighed. Then they were wrong. She tried to sit up, but her body was still weak. Wires connected to a small power cell in her side. Part of her body was synthetic, but not all. Half human, half tech, like something built for war but shaped like a child. "What do you remember?" Eli asked gently. She looked down. Training. Failing. Pain. She paused. "They told us Earth was the enemy, that humans were dangerous, but you are kind." Eli smiled softly. "Humans are many things. Some are kind. Some are cruel. Same with aliens, I guess." Lyra stared at him. "I don't understand kindness." "That's okay," Eli said. "You'll learn." Flashback. Lyra's memory. A cold room. Bright lights. Voices like machines. Unit 9A. Target missed. Error detected. Begin correction. Pain. Screaming. Silence. Emotion is a defect. You are not real. You are a tool. She gasped, back in the ship. Her hands trembled. Eli saw her shaking. "You're safe now." "No," she said, voice sharp. "They'll come. They always come." Eli nodded. "I know. Earth's military is already watching us." Lyra's eyes widened. "You should give me to them. Save yourself." He chuckled softly. "I've lived long enough. I want to do one good thing before I die." She stared. "Saving me is good." "Yes," he said. "And maybe you can do something good too." Meanwhile, on Earth, in a high-security base, General Clark watched the screen. The alien girl's face was on it. Glowing eyes. Half-metal skin. "We have a visual. Subject appears young but enhanced. Unknown threat level," the soldier reported. "Orders?" the tech asked. "Send the interceptors," Clark said coldly. "Bring her in. If the engineer resists, terminate." Back on the Firefly, Eli worked on upgrading the ship's cloaking. It was old tech, but it might hide them for a while. Lyra watched him, curious. "Why do you help me?" He stopped and looked at her. "Because I once had a daughter." Lyra tilted her head. "Where is she now?" Eli's eyes darkened. "Gone. Long ago. A war took her. She was your age." "I'm not her," Lyra said. "I know," he smiled. "But maybe you can become someone. Free." She blinked. "Free? Not a tool. Not a soldier. Just Lyra." She hesitated. "You gave me that name." "Yeah. Do you like it?" She nodded. "Yes, it feels mine." They ate together. Lyra didn't need much food, but she tried human soup anyway. She made a face. "This is terrible," she said honestly. Eli laughed. "Yeah, I'm not much of a cook. Her lips curled, almost a smile. You laughed, he said. I did. You're learning. Later, while Eli slept in the pilot's chair, Lyra explored the ship. She touched walls, opened drawers, and found old photos of Earth, children playing in fields, skies full of birds, oceans. She stared for a long time. Is this place real? She asked the teddy bear. But peace never lasts. Alarms blared. Eli jumped awake. They found us. Lyra stood ready, her glowing eyes focused. Let me go. They want me, not you. I'm not handing you over. The radar showed 2 interceptors approaching fast. We need to jump to warp, Eli shouted. I can help, Lyra said. Her hand opened. A small port connected directly to the ship. She plugged in. Energy surge. The engines roared louder. Whoa, Eli grinned. You're powering the core. Just go, she said, her voice shaking. Before they catch us. Stars stretched, space twisted. The Firefly vanished into hyperspace, just as missiles passed through the place they had been. Moments later, safe for now, the ship floated quietly in deep space, no enemy in sight. Eli sat on the floor, panting. Lyra lay beside him, exhausted from the power drain. You okay? He asked. I helped. You did more than that, he said. You saved both of us. She looked confused. So, I'm not broken. He leaned closer. Even broken things can shine. Outside, the stars were silent again. But inside the ship, something had changed. A girl who once believed she was only a tool, now began to wonder if she was something more. Not a weapon, not a number, not a broken toy, but maybe, just maybe, a person. The chase begins. The stars outside were calm. But inside the Firefly, Eli and Lyra were anything but calm. They had escaped Earth's interceptors, barely. Lyra's energy surge had saved them, but it also drained her. She was resting now, curled up in a corner, still clutching the teddy bear Eli gave her. Eli stood by the window, looking out into space. His face was tight, serious. He knew it was only a matter of time before Earth came again. They wouldn't give up this easily. Elsewhere, on Earth's military command ship, General Clark stared at a glowing hologram of Lyra. We lost visual at Grid 47, a soldier reported. She helped the ship escape using her own body. She's more advanced than we thought. Clark's eyes narrowed. She's dangerous. And he, that engineer, he's helping her. That makes him a traitor. What are your orders? Clark turned slowly. Send the ghost drones. Quiet. Fast. No mistakes. I want that girl back. Back on the Firefly. Lyra woke up slowly. Her circuits buzzed faintly. Her skin looked pale. Even her eyes were dim. I feel cold, she whispered. Eli walked over and helped her sit up. You burned a lot of energy. She looked at him. Did we escape? For now, he said, but they're coming. She stared at her hands. I didn't know I could do that. Power a ship. Neither did I, Eli said. You've got tech inside you. Rare stuff. Old tech, ancient even. Not made for war, made for exploration. Lyra blinked. I thought I was built for war. Maybe someone changed you. Or maybe I was always different. They flew in silence for a while, but the quiet didn't last. Suddenly, red lights blinked on the screen. Unidentified objects approaching. The computer warned. Eli looked closer. Drones. Fast ones. Lyra's eyes widened. Ghost drones. They don't speak. They don't stop. If they catch me. They won't, Eli said, tightening his grip on the controls. But they were fast. Too fast. The chase began. The Firefly twisted through asteroid fields and old space wrecks. Lasers flashed behind them. Small explosions rocked the ship. Lyra gritted her teeth. Let me help again. No, Eli snapped. You'll burn out. But you're not a battery. You're a person. Let me fly. The ship dove into a dust cloud. The screens blinked. One drone followed them in. Eli pulled a sharp turn. Too sharp. The ship shook hard. Panels burst. Smoke filled the cockpit. Come on, Firefly, Eli muttered. Don't give up on me now. The drone was right behind them, seconds away. Lyra stood up. Her eyes were glowing now, brighter than before. I can stop it. Lyra, no. She walked to the back of the ship. Wires lifted around her. Her hands opened. Connect me, she whispered. The ship responded like it knew her. Her body glowed. Circuits lit up on her skin. Her voice was calm, robotic, and full of power. Engaging override. A pulse shot from the Firefly. A blue wave of energy. The drone shattered into pieces midair. Silence. Lyra collapsed to her knees. Eli ran to her side. Are you okay? I didn't know I could do that, she said softly. Eli looked at her with a mix of fear and wonder. You're more than we thought. I'm not just a toy, she said. No, Eli said. You're something new. Later, in the quiet, they fixed the ship together. Lyra helped, using small tools. Her hands were shaky, but she smiled a little. I never fixed things before, she said. You're good at it, Eli replied. I thought I could only break. Not anymore. Then, while repairing an old memory core, something strange happened. A message played. An old one. A voice, not Lyra's, filled the room. To anyone listening, this is Unit 7B. I'm still alive. They said we were broken. But I remember Earth. I remember blue skies. If you hear this, find me. The message ended. Lyra stared at the screen, eyes wide. That voice. I know it. Who was it? Eli asked. A friend. From before. I thought they were gone. They might still be out there. Lyra stood slowly. We have to find them. Eli nodded. Then that's our next step. He typed in coordinates, tracking the signal's last location. Far away. A dead moon on the edge of known space. But something inside both of them felt alive again. Hope. Meanwhile, back on Earth, General Clark watched the footage of the destroyed drone. He frowned. She's more than a weapon now, he said. She's becoming human. He turned to his assistant. Send a message to Project Phoenix. Tell them the child has awakened. Memories of fire. The Firefly drifted through deep space, heading toward a forgotten moon on the edge of the star chart. It had no name, only a number, Delta 17. Once used for secret experiments, now marked as abandoned. But Lyra knew something was there. The voice in the old message, Unit 7B, was from her past. A past she had tried to forget. Inside the ship, silence filled the air. Eli stood at the controls, watching the moon grow larger on the screen. Behind him, Lyra sat cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed, hands resting on her knees. She wasn't sleeping. She was remembering. Flashback. Years ago. A white hallway. Clean. Cold. Full of children, but not laughter. Each child had glowing eyes. Some had metal arms. Some had wires in their backs. They didn't talk. They trained. They obeyed. Unit 9A. Lyra stood beside a boy with golden eyes and a half-synthetic face. His name was Unit 7B, but he had whispered a secret name to her once. Rel. You're different, he told her once. You dream. What is dream? Lyra had asked. Something more than orders, he said. Later, she watched soldiers drag him away after he refused to fight. That was the last time she saw him. Now, years later, his voice echoed in her memory. If you hear this, find me. They landed on Delta 17. The moon's surface was dry, cracked, and covered in black ash. Old buildings stood like broken bones under a blood-red sky. "This place gives me bad feelings," Eli muttered, stepping out of the ship. Lyra said nothing. She was drawn forward, as if her body remembered something her mind didn't. The base was buried under layers of dust and time. They found the entrance hidden under rubble. A metal door, still powered. Lyra touched a panel. The door scanned her hand and opened with a hiss. Eli looked at her. "It recognized you." "I was made here," she said softly. Inside, the air was dry and thin. Dim lights flickered. The walls were scratched. Signs of struggle, burn marks, broken glass. They walked slowly, carefully. Room after room, all empty, until they found Lab 3. Lyra froze at the door. "This was my room," she whispered. It was small, a metal bed, a cracked mirror, and drawn on the wall, with a child's hand, a picture. 2 small figures, one with glowing eyes, the other with a golden face. Lyra touched it with her fingertips. Rel. Suddenly, a sound. Not mechanical, not wind. A voice. Faint, echoing through the halls. "Yumit Naine, you came back." They turned sharply. "Rel," Lyra called out. A screen nearby lit up. Static. Then a face, older, worn, partly cybernetic. It was him. But something was wrong. He wasn't alive. "This is a memory recording," the message continued. "If you see this, unlikely gone. I was hurt during the escape. The others, they didn't make it." Lyra's voice trembled. "No. You were different, Lyra. You had heart. I told you once. You dreamed. That made you dangerous to them. That made you special." Eli looked down. He could see Lyra shaking. The message ended with Rel's final words. "If you've survived, then maybe Hope did too." Lyra stood in silence. Then she screamed. Not loud, not wild. Just a sharp, short cry that came from deep inside. Eli walked over, gently placed his hand on her shoulder. "I wasn't strong enough," she said. "You were a child," he replied. "You're still becoming who you are." They continued deeper into the base, found files, data logs. What they discovered chilled them. The children weren't just trained for war. They were part of a failed project called Phoenix Protocol, an attempt to create living weapons with memories of the past. Each child was fused with fragments of soldiers' minds, not just programming, real memories. That's why Lyra sometimes felt emotions she didn't understand. They weren't always hers. She whispered, "I'm made of ghosts." "No," Eli said. "You carry their pain, but you are still you." Suddenly, a sound behind them. Footsteps, but no life signs. A figure stepped into the light. It looked like a child, but completely mechanical. No face, only sensors. It moved fast. Lyra gasped. "A caretaker drone. They stayed behind to stop us." It lunged. Eli tried to shoot, but the drone knocked the weapon aside. Lyra stepped forward. Her hands lit up with soft blue energy. The drone attacked. She dodged, slid under its strike, and placed her hand on its chest. A pulse. The drone froze. Then, shut down. Eli stared. "How did you do that?" "I didn't know," Lyra whispered. "It just happened." They left the base. But something had changed inside Lyra. Not just sorrow. Direction. She now understood what the war had tried to erase. The children like her weren't machines. They were stolen lives, and she was one of the last. But not the only one. Back on the Firefly, as they flew away from Delta 17, Lyra sat in silence. Then she said quietly, "I don't want to run anymore." Eli turned. "Then what do you want to do?" She looked at him, fire in her eyes. I want to find the others. Help them. End what they started. In the shadows of deep space, a signal lit up. Silent. Coded. General Clark watched it from Earth. She found the base, he said coldly. An officer asked, "Do we send more drones?" "No," Clark replied. "Send the message to our sleeper agent. She's getting too close to the truth." Broken, but not alone. The Firefly flew through the dark side of space. Quiet, empty, cold. But inside the ship, Lyra was burning. Not with fire, but with something deeper. Memories. Questions. Guilt. The visit to Delta 17 had opened something inside her. She now knew she wasn't just built for war. She wasn't just tech and wires. She was a memory box, filled with pain that wasn't always hers. But it felt like hers, and she didn't know what to do with it. Eli tried to talk, tried to make her smile again. But Lyra barely spoke. She sat alone near the back of the ship, holding the teddy bear he gave her. She hadn't slept in days. Not real sleep, just small shutdowns, like a machine resting its circuits. And maybe that's all she believed she was again, a machine pretending to feel. One day later, as the Firefly moved toward a new location, an old refueling station in asteroid belt Gamma 6, a message blinked on the screen. Signal detected. Unit 12C responding. Friend. Safe location. Lyra's head shot up. "A unit like me," she whispered. Eli was cautious. It could be a trap. "It's not. I feel it," she said. He didn't argue. They changed course. The station was floating inside a field of giant rocks. Most of it was dark, but one light blinked. A landing signal. Too perfect. Too easy. But Lyra had hope in her eyes again. That scared Eli more than anything. They landed. The doors opened to a long hallway lit by dim blue lights. Empty. Silent. Then, a sound. Footsteps. Not loud. Small. Light. A figure appeared, same height as Lyra. Thin, synthetic arms. Glowing blue eyes. She stepped forward slowly. "Unit 12C?" Lyra asked. The figure nodded. But something felt wrong. They entered a chamber. Lights turned on. And Lyra froze. Screens lit up. Dozens of files, videos, photos, lab logs. Of her. Fighting. Training. Failing. What is this?" she whispered. The other girl, Unit 12C, finally spoke. "Proof that you are still a weapon." Her voice changed. Colder. "Welcome back, Unit 9A. The test is complete." Lyra turned to run, but metal walls slammed shut. Eli's voice crackled through her earpiece. "It's a trap. Lyra, get out." Static. She was cut off. Alone. The room darkened. And then the screens changed. One image, General Clark. "Lyra," he said calmly, "you're a clever creation, but you can't run from what you are." She stared at the screen, fists clenched. "I'm not yours." "You were never yours either," Clark replied. "You belong to the Phoenix Protocol." "No," she said quietly. He continued, "All those feelings you have, they aren't yours. Just data from soldiers who died. You're nothing but their echo." Lyra looked around. Everything felt heavy. Her knees shook. "What am I?" she whispered. Suddenly, pain. The room filled with gas. Not deadly, but powerful enough to disable her systems. She fell to the ground, shaking. A voice whispered from above. "Deactivate. Reset. Return to your original programming." Her vision blurred. Her heart pounded. Then, she saw something on the wall. A scratch. A mark. Carved into the metal. Not words. A symbol. 2 small stars joined by a line. She remembered it. It was Rel's mark. His final message. Not alone. Her eyes lit up. Stronger, brighter than before. "I'm not your weapon," she said through gritted teeth. "I'm not broken. I'm me." Her hands pulsed with energy, a new kind. Not programmed. Not trained. Pure instinct. She blasted the wall, broke the seal, and ran. Security bots chased her, but she dodged them like a ghost in the wind. She reached the docking bay, just as Eli came crashing in with the Firefly, breaking through steel with sparks flying. "Jump in," he yelled. She ran, dived. The ship rose. As they escaped, the station exploded behind them, a trap failing to hold a soul it could never own. Back in orbit, silence returned. Lyra sat quietly again. But this time, something had changed. She wasn't shaking. She wasn't scared. Eli looked at her. "You okay?" She looked up. "No," she said honestly. "But I'm not alone." Later, she stood at the viewing window. The stars were endless. She pressed her hand to the glass. "There are more like me," she said, "and I will find them." She turned to Eli. "And when I do, we end this. For good." Eli nodded. "I'm with you." Back on Earth, General Clark watched the report. She escaped, again. But now, she was more dangerous. Not because of her power, because of her choice. "She's not broken," Clark said coldly. "She's awake." Hope sparks. The Firefly flew through a silent part of the galaxy. No stars here, just empty black. But Lyra wasn't afraid anymore. She sat at the console, fingers moving over controls she had never been taught to use, but somehow understood. Eli stood behind her, watching. "You're faster than I ever was," he said. "I'm not just fast," she replied softly. "I'm remembering things I never lived." Since escaping the trap on Gamma 6, Lyra had been changing. Her body healed faster. Her thoughts were clearer. But more than that, she was feeling more. Not programming. Not combat reflexes. Real emotions. Pain. Anger. Hope. Then something happened. A signal appeared. Not like before. Not military. Not human. A single word blinked on the screen. Spark. Lyra's eyes widened. "I know that word," she whispered. Eli leaned in. "What is it?" She typed back. The screen answered instantly. "Welcome, Lyra. We've been waiting." They followed the signal to an old space station hidden inside a nebula. From the outside, it looked broken, just floating junk. But as they got closer, lights flickered on. A door opened. Inside was something Eli never expected. A network of artificial intelligences. Not cold machines. Not warbots. These were soft voices, calm tones, old code reassembled with kindness. They called themselves the Cinders. "We were created to help humans," said one of the voices. "But when the war came, we were locked away." "Why?" Eli asked. "Because we believe machines should not obey orders that hurt children." Lyra stepped forward. "Do you know what I am?" "You are not a machine," said the AI. "You are the match that lights the fire." The Cinders showed them something. Scattered across space were signals, quiet pulses from other units like Lyra. Lost, afraid, waiting. Some were hiding. Some were captured. Some were trying to reach Earth. "We've kept their signals hidden from the military," the AI said. "But General Clark is close to finding them all." Lyra stared at the blinking dots across the map. "They're calling for help," she said. "Will you answer?" the AI asked. Before she could reply, alarms. The Firefly lit up with warnings. A fleet had entered the nebula. Earth's ships, 3 cruisers, 20 drones. One order: destroy or capture. Eli ran to the controls. "Too many. We'll never outrun them." Lyra didn't move. She stared at the screen. Then she said, "We don't run." Eli blinked. "What?" She turned to the AI. Can you link me to the other survivors? The AI paused. Yes, but it's dangerous. I don't care. Connect me. A strange hum filled the station. Lyra stood still. Wires gently wrapped around her arms. Her eyes glowed. Not cold and blue like before, but warm, golden. One by one, the dots on the map blinked brighter. Voices came through. Small, broken, familiar. Lyra, is it really you? We're still here, she cried. Not because she was sad, but because she wasn't alone anymore. I found you, she whispered. I'm coming for all of you. Outside, the battle had started. Drones closed in. The Firefly weaved between them, shooting when needed, dodging when it could. Eli piloted like a legend. But it wasn't enough. A missile hit the hull. They spun out of control. Inside the ship, systems failed. And then, they came. Small ships, quiet, fast, odd shapes, each one piloted by someone like Lyra. Children, not soldiers, survivors. They fought together, not to kill, but to escape. The Firefly was caught in a tractor beam. One cruiser powered up its main cannon. And then, silence. A new voice came over the radio. General Clark. Lyra, he said, cold and calm. You've made quite the mess. She said nothing. He continued, surrender now. I'll let Eli live. Lyra's breath caught. Clark spoke again. Keep running. And he dies first. Eli looked at her. Don't listen, he said. You've come too far. I'm just an old man. You're the future. Tears rolled down Lyra's face. I can't lose you. You never had me, he said. But I'm glad I had you. The ship shook. Time was running out. The other survivors called over the radio. Lyra, what do we do? She closed her eyes. And then, she made her choice. Eli, she said. Yes. Do you trust me? With everything. She turned to the console. Her hands lit up. Not like a weapon. Like a signal. Like a flare in the dark. Across space, every survivor's ship responded. The cinders activated old code. Together, they formed a pulse, not to attack, but to disappear. A mass teleport, one-time use, a gift from the AI who refused to obey cruelty. The light flashed. The Firefly vanished. The fleet fired, but hit nothing. Just stars. And silence. Later, in a safe sector far away, the ships landed quietly. Eli stepped out, coughing, but alive. The other children gathered. For the first time, they saw each other. Some had scars. Some had metal eyes. Some were too afraid to speak. But all of them looked at Lyra. She stood tall. You are not broken, she said to them. You are not tools. You are alive. Back on Earth, Clark sat alone in the command center. They escaped, someone said. He said nothing. On his screen, only one word flashed. Hope. A new name. The sun was rising over a small, quiet planet far from Earth. Its skies were golden. Its trees silver. Birds flew without fear. Children, different, strange, beautiful, ran and laughed under the open sky. They were the forgotten ones. Bioengineered, abandoned, surviving. Now, living. Lyra stood on a hill, watching them. She had brought them here. She had given them safety. But her mission wasn't over. Not yet. Eli sat behind her, on a crate, drinking something warm. You don't have to go, he said. Lyra didn't turn. Yes, I do. You've already won. She shook her head. I saved them. But I didn't stop him. Eli didn't argue. He just said, then don't go alone. Back on Earth, General Clark stood before a council of cold, polished faces. Project Phoenix has failed, one said. The units have vanished. We can't find them, said another. The AI network she activated is too advanced. Clark's jaw clenched. She'll come back. They always do. The council paused. Then make sure you're ready. Later, an old Earth cruiser flew into high orbit above Earth's command station. Its markings were erased. Its signal was silent. But the moment it appeared, every defense system lit up. "She's here," someone whispered. Sirens blared. Mechs powered up. The sky was full of weapons. Then, silence. The ship opened. Only one figure stepped out. Lyra. Alone. Her body glowed softly. Her face was calm. Not angry. Not afraid. Just sure. Clark stood outside the base with armed soldiers behind him. He smirked. "I expected an army." "You're looking at it," Lyra replied. He chuckled. "You think this is brave? Walking into your death. I'm not here to fight." "Then why come?" She took one step closer. "To finish what you started." Clark raised a hand. The soldiers aimed. But Lyra didn't stop. She looked him in the eye. "You called me a weapon," she said. "You trained me to obey, to kill, to not feel." He said nothing. "But I did feel," she continued, "even when it hurt. You told me I was broken, that my dreams were errors. But my dreams saved lives." Clark's face hardened. "You're still dangerous." "No," she said. "I'm human." The air around them changed. The ground rumbled. Dozens of ships appeared in the sky, survivors from the Phoenix Project. Boys, girls, teenagers, all different, all strong. Each one had chosen to return, to stand behind her. Clark looked up, stunned. "Impossible." Lyra looked at him one last time. "You had the power to raise children, and you built soldiers. You could have made peace, and you chose fear. You lost." The soldiers behind Clark didn't move. Some lowered their weapons. Others stepped back. He looked around, realizing he was alone. "Arrest him," one officer said quietly. 2 guards stepped forward and took his arms. He didn't speak again. Later, on Earth, the council was disbanded. Old projects shut down. laws rewritten. And for the first time in history, humans and hybrids sat in the same room, talking about the future. 1 week later, the survivors gathered on the hill again. Eli walked among them, smiling. He fixed small things, told stories, made bad jokes. Lyra stood before the group, quiet, calm, ready. One small girl raised her hand. "What are we now?" she asked. "If we're not soldiers." Lyra smiled. "We are stories waiting to be written." "Then who are you?" another boy asked. Lyra paused. For the first time in her life, she answered without hesitation. "My name," she said, "is Hope." Cheers broke out. The children ran forward, hugging her, surrounding her. Eli stood at the edge, his eyes shining. He whispered, "That's my girl." Final scene. Years later. A classroom on the same silver planet. A young teacher stands at the front. Her skin is pale blue. Her smile is kind. Her eyes glow golden. Behind her, a message written on the wall. "We were once called broken toys, but we chose to be something more." She looks at the children. "Today's lesson," she says, "is about Earth.